was going to show you, because I promised last time, when I said next time I'm live, I'll show you all of the crazies I get. All of the crazy people that reach out to me and say crazy things and accuse me of crazy things. And so I meant to just do it over a week, but instead I'm going to do it over 2 weeks. So I'm not including all the death threats and hate messages I get on Twitter because that would take too long. But I thought it was funny because Duncan just put out a video today. That's Thorin. I get to call him by his first name because I know him. He put a video out today, Thorin versus the Blocked Industry Edition. And it is just like, people don't realize, like, if you have a reasonable, it doesn't even need to be a big following on Twitter. I'm talking once you scale up to about 10,000 Twitter followers, the mental illness you're exposed to from the general public is like nothing you will ever see. It's like, it's scary, just unreasonable theories and people saying crazy shit. And so I'm not going to do the Twitter stuff because it takes too long. I'll just show you some of the YouTube stuff, some Reddit threads, and this is just in a 2-week period. I attract fucking crazies like I like no one's business. And so I thought you might want to have a look at a few. So let's go right back. I did a video saying that, like, it's really interesting. We take a stance against Russia. We don't take a stance against China. We don't take a stance against Saudi Arabia. In fact, China and Saudi Arabia seem to be our special international friends. And, you know, the video was just talking about why I think a major in China would be negative. You know, it would be like a backward step for esports. And then I got this message. Hey, neckbeard. Now, by the way, I get called a neckbeard a lot, but this is just a beard. Like, it's on my... neckbeard is someone where it's only on the neck. I want to make that abundantly clear. It's just a beard. Like, okay. Anyway, hey, neckbeard. There's millions of Uyghurs locked up, right? Now, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say there was millions of Uyghurs locked up. I said there was tens of thousands, which there is. You clowns have satellites. You lost millions of people. Yes, that notoriously free airspace that is China, that is mainland China in the Xinjiang region. Not to mention, yes, drones did find the re-education camps, as they're called. And China denied them and said it was a hoax. But this is obviously like some tanky China stan. You lost concentration camps the size of cities. Why can't you show me one picture of a concentration camp? I could. I didn't in the video. Didn't think I would need to. Your satellites don't work over China. I don't have any satellites. I want to make that clear. To everyone watching, I don't have any satellites. I do not have satellite capability. I am not like a Bezos type character or a Musk type character. I don't have any. I can't launch. I don't have. I promise I'm not launching satellites in my spare time. Does it have a force field like Wakanda? Now, I'm sure he knows Wakanda's a fictitious place, so I won't go for the low-hanging fruit. You're a 40-year-old in video games living with your mum. Mum! Get us a cup of tea! Nah, she's not there, is she? I don't live with her. She's not there. We haven't lived together for about, 24 years, something like that. So no, mom is not there. She's not making me tea. No nuggies, no chicken tendies. I get nothing. Just living alone. The life of an incel. What makes you think you, of all people, are qualified to talk about anything more than pixels, shooting other pixels on a screen? I just am, because I know what I'm talking about. So I had that. That was from a video about Blast getting a major. Right. Okay, no problem then. Then I did a video, didn't I, about JKS, which seemed to upset people because I said JKS is overrated. Now, overrated is the most misunderstood word in the English language, evidently, because how anybody could make an argument to the contrary after watching the video doesn't make sense. So I had a few JKS stands get at me. This guy, I think, is... here we go, this guy. Look at this fat loser blatantly having it out for JKS for literally no other reason than he's overpaid and people like him. You're a 40-year-old loser with an XXXXL now Wu-Tang shirt. Stop. Now, first of all, Wu-wear, right, is fire. I won't have a word said against it. Second of all, there is one X in the back of my T-shirts. Shamefully, there is an X there. I can't pretend, but it is just one. It is just one X, I promise. There's no four X's, just one X. And I don't have it in for JKS at all. He's a massive check stealer, but that's fine. He's not alone in that regard. It's really the fans that talk about him like he's the greatest player to ever touch the game. People like Mr. Jesus Navas. Right now, he comes back a few times because there was another. Let me just check this one. Yeah, he comes back a couple of times because he's not just upset with me. He's upset with anyone. Someone said Sponge is responsible for this madness, day by day adding to the JKS rider crew and adding fuel to the non-existent fire, which is true. Look, listen, Sponge is his boy, so it's totally fine, and Sponge is my boy, so I won't criticise Sponge for doing it and supporting his boys. It's the same way I would gas, I've always supported Sponge and gassed him up to be an analyst, recommended him to hire people. You stand by your mates, right? But at the end of the day, like, I saw him tweet something like JKS haters in tears, and everyone was replying going, yeah, Richard Lewis. It's like, well done, you beat what the fuck, MIBR and Big with Searson at LAN. Wow, you've proved yourself, lads. You've fucking done it. You've beaten people who are not even really for the win aren't tier 1. MIBR arguably are, but not. It's ridiculous. But anyway, he replied saying, just know you're a fucking no one. That's all I want you to know. And then in this one, someone was saying, like, JKS is playing good on the CT sides, but on the T sides he looks pretty bad, which is like just a hallmark of his play. He's a good CT player. He's not as effective on the T side. What a shit take. Look at all these bums that think they could do better, lol. You're a moron. You had 50 hours in the year in the lead up to the event and put them over the edge on Mirage as a fucking stand-in on a team he's never played for. Fuck off. So there you go. JKS actually put them over the edge. Rain could never do that, such as having an MVP performance against Na'Vi in a major final. Then there was another one. Hang on, let me get this. Another JKS. Stan, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, this one was weird because this guy said, funny how Richard makes it sound that JKS can make Mouse... he means couldn't make Mouse top 5, given that according to Richard, he apparently has never made a team top 5 before, despite being the main factor in 100 Thieves cracking the top 5 in 2019. Now, 100 Thieves did become top 5 in 2019 for a month, and it was a month when everyone else didn't go to a tournament. They got invited to Beijing, like an Intel Extreme Masters Beijing event. Because they competed there, it boosted their points, so they got a little bump above all the other teams that didn't go. And for that 1 month, they were in the top 5 in 2019. JKS probably was the best player in the team at that time, although I think there was an argument. I think statistically at the event they attended, can't remember who it was now, but like Gratisfaction or someone performed above him. But the idea that 2019 and the landscape then, because spoiler, pandemic happened, and 2022, 3 years later, in the landscape as it looks now, just saying. And then this guy called Quantum said, because I replied to that guy saying pretty much what I just said to you, said, you're a clown who deletes posts. Now, hopefully, because he will be watching this, because as you'll see, he's out of his mind. See when it says potentially inappropriate? That's YouTube flagging it, homie. I don't delete those. So it's just clown, I'm guessing, is like a flag phrase. You're a clown who deletes posts. No wonder no one in the scene respects you anymore. What a fall from grace. Now, this guy, after that, came back on another video and just posted something that was completely unhinged in the middle of the night. And I think, like a lot of nutters, he was a sort of jilted lover in a way, is how he thinks of himself. This is what parasocial relationships look like. This was, I can't even remember what this was in regards to. It might have been on the Blast video again. No. Yeah, it was in regards to the Saudi Arabian takeover of esports, and the US event and all the problems that we've got with immigration. Why is it people can't get their visas? We're seeing that problem happen again. What's going to happen when, for example, Spinks, who's an Israeli national, wants to go play at like IEM Riyadh, and Saudi Arabia won't allow Israeli nationals into the country. So I brought these points up as relevant to esports. But anyway, we'll get into this. Who was talking about immigration other than you? This is a point you are bringing up, not even the part I was criticising. Clearly this is a defence mechanism, since I always see you do this. Who would even argue that statement? Anyway, I genuinely just like talking to you. So this is I've never talked to this guy. And remember, he said just before this that I'd had a massive fall from grace and no one respected me. And this, in some way, is our own quality time together. And something I hold very dear. Unironically, for the most part, I absolutely adore you. Same guy. And your personality, which is why I find it ironic that you discredit the validity and desire of others to, in fact, hear you, Sir Richard of Lewis rant. The other content, when not hating America, in a usually blind rage, albeit, I do understand why you feel that way, as a vast majority of trash cans LARPing as humans do reside here, is entertaining. It's your particular snide way of dishing out these diatribes that genuinely keep me a hooked fish. I actually dare you for once to have a laugh, talk a bit of shit with a fan, and continue on your day knowing not everyone who follows is an applesauce brain, as you've aptly put it. Stop getting so defensive over words online, you beautiful, sensitive prat. Now, there's more to this terrifying post, because he goes on, P.S., if you don't consistently drop I hate it here's, I'll find you, Richard. When I do, I'll take you out for a pint and convince you through rather sultry means. Take this as my final warning. Love you. Now, I replied to that, right? And, I see you all shocked, aren't you? Yeah. Oh, Richard exaggerates the messages he gets. Welcome to my world. I'm a 39-year-old man who talks about video games. Why is any of this happening to me? Anyway, I replied to that guy, and I said, like, bro, like, this is giga cringe. Like, you're either really, really drunk or something's going on, and you should read this back in the morning and delete it. And as far as I can tell, he's just nuked his account from orbit. It's just gone. So it's like, okay, all right. We've all been there, maybe. Maybe it was like some late-night parasocial booty call or whatever. But terrible, terrifying vibes, and this is why I won't meet people anymore. Richard, why don't you meet up with the fans? That guy right there. I always remember a story I got told at university. It was from a friend of mine called Mushroom Ben. Mushroom Ben, not to be confused with Ben, who turned into Ming the Merciless. This was another drug psychotic called Ben. We called him Mushroom Ben to distinguish from Benjamin. But Benjamin was already sectioned by this point, but we just did it for deep law purposes. But there was this guy called Mushroom Ben. And Mushroom Ben was a mess. Well, I can distinctly remember the time he really went out and never came back. There were 2 times, actually. One time he ate about, like, it was insane, about 400 magic mushrooms, Welsh magic mushrooms, straight from the hills. Tripped for about 2 days solid. And then there was this other time we were going up to a nightclub. We all used to sneak in ecstasy, but this time they had sneaky doormen searching you. So we said, like, you know, Ben's a mess. If Ben gets got, it's fine. Like, police aren't going to they're not going to arrest him. Even if the police turn up, they're going to be like, wow, this guy's gone, you know? So we said to Ben, we were like, oh yeah, hold on to all our ecstasy tablets, right? So we like gave him, and we had about 2 each, you know, so there's about 4 of us. So we gave him all the tablets plus the tablets he had. And we said, just, you know, fucking hide them, and we'll get in, and then we'll get the pills back. So we go in, we all get patted down, we all get searched. We get into the nightclub, and then we say to Mushroom Ben, we say, Ben, can we have our ecstasy? And Ben was sat in the corner, like, just bolt upright. And he had a very strange way of talking, because ever since the mushrooms, it had sort of fucked up his capacity for speech. And he went, I haven't got them. And I went, what do you mean you haven't got them? Did the guy get them? Did the guy take them? No, I swallowed them. Like, what, Ben, what do you mean? What do you mean you swallowed the ecstasy? I put them in my mouth to hide them, but then I got scared and swallowed them. And you're like, Ben, that's like 10 ecstasy tablets. Like you really just swallowed them all. Yeah, I think I'm going to overdose. We're just like, right, well, preemptive call for the ambulance for one. Get as far away from the Ben as possible. Yeah, it was fucked up. Anyway, that guy, after that point, he survived that. That guy, after that point, used to hitchhike everywhere. He wouldn't get cars or taxis or buses. He started living the life of the open road. He grew dreadlocks, became like a real hippie. And he used to, like, tell me all these, like, insane stories about, like, you know, being like, he told me one time he got nerve pinched by a trucker who, like, was demanding roadhead for a lift and stuff. And it's just like, reading that post just reminded me like so much of fucking Mushroom Ben. Like I just couldn't. So, red flags is all I'm saying. No, I don't know where he is now. He's gone. Salute you, Ben. Another one of the many nutters I've met down the years, living the dream. Anyway, so that was that guy. Don't know where he's gone. This one was interesting. I was looking back at some old videos, and I remembered how I played a part in Hassan's deep lore. Hassan now like the biggest, he's Tank Bay, isn't he? Biggest streamer on the Twitch platform, but back when he was on the come up and desperate to make it, he was watching lots of political content. I just so happened to produce a video at that time. So anyway, I ended up meeting Hassan in the very, very early days, and I went on and I wanted to just talk and get to meet him because I was doing all these other podcasts and, was getting to meet more and more political streamers and just wanted to get a flavour for what he was about. And what he wanted to do was try and do a debate bro thing and talk about Trump and Tucker Carlson and all that shit. And the only reason we were talking in the first place was he'd watched one of my videos on his stream. Something that if you ask JX, he's continued to do with impunity. But anyway, I didn't mind, I went on there and had a conversation without even consulting with me afterwards. He just put up the conversation onto his YouTube channel, and it's called something like Richard Lewis, semantics expert, and the description is radical centrism gives you brain cancer, implying I have brain cancer because I don't go with mainstream media narratives. So anyway, I got linked to the video, and I was like, you know what? That video actually wasn't bad. That was a pretty decent political essay. Well done, Richard. Well done, past Richard. Right, well done, pat on the back. And anyway, I remembered, that led to that debate with Hassan. I wonder what's going on over there now. So I went to that video, and naturally, all of the comments as Hassan's got bigger, people are finding this obscure little early debate video, and everyone's saying Richard Lewis is a cunt, he's a Nazi, he's a Trump supporter, all this stuff. He's one of these typical British people who, because their accent sounds clever, they think they're smarter than everybody else. All of this shit. But I saw a comment that I just couldn't believe, actually. And here you go. I hope all of you have been enjoying my Football Manager streams. Feel suitably ashamed. Oh, Hassie, if you could see Richard Lewis now, have a visit to his YouTube channel. He runs a Uganda Football Manager playthrough with some of the most unhinged racism I've ever seen. Now, I've got the 18, but the 19th's ready to go. I've got 18 videos of this unhinged racism on my YouTube channel. It hasn't been flagged for unhinged racism. Sure, only 4,000 people watch them. But there's no unhinged racism in there. Hassie, you've got to believe me. You, my friends, have all engaged in enjoying some unhinged racism. Something for you to think about. Then, let me just check this one as well, make sure it's Twitch appropriate. This one was a flagged comment on my latest Enemy of the People episode. Hey, you commie retrads, do a flip forgot, eat, sit, and D-mad. Don't forget about what lame drug addict, AIDS-looking butt pirate Depp said. Oh, you can't even remember, but somehow think he's cool now because of what the rest of the normies and media shared with you during the Depp versus Heard trial. Weird how that was all over the news 24/7, but the Ghislaine trial was buried. In a similar vein to the guy who replied to a video about Stewie 2K leaving Valorant and said I should investigate the international satanic cabal. Bit of Epstein there. You gotta mix up your nutters. You gotta mix up your nutters. We've had a parasocial nutter that clearly, on some level, is attracted to me, even though he's lost all respect and thinks I've had a fall from grace, but he'd really like to take me out for drinks in a sultry manner and, maybe aggressively suck my penis. Then, on the other side of the nutter scale, why not have the Epstein Island types? Yeah, why not? Why not? Why was this public trial public and this federal trial sealed? Why? Why were these two different types of trial not treated the same? It's a mystery to me. Must be a conspiracy. Anyway, so we had a bit of that too, and I think that it was a quiet month on the old YouTube. I think, but obviously we don't just stop there. Obviously, Vax sucks. were on about me again. I'm not quite sure why. Obviously, I get talked about a lot over there because I'm part of the global conspiracy that enables people to cheat. Me, Valve, everyone else who's ever worked an event, the casters, they're in on it, all the players are in on it. And it's to keep people like the Vaxxux posters in silver. It's all one big conspiracy to keep them in silver. This was the post. It's called Richard Lewis is a shill. Yes, he is. Now, I'll add, definitely look too much like Wings of Redemption on that side.
Look here! Look, listen!
That's why I stopped bicking my head. But anyway, listen, you have to understand the language of Vaxxux if you want to sort of get what this is about. The enemy of Vaxxux is the shill. Right? They are convinced that the reason that there is only like 6 schizos posting on that subreddit anymore is because of shills. They genuinely believe that bots go there and downvote all the posts as part of the global conspiracy. That I have an army of burners, which, spoiler, I actually do. I just don't use it for downvoting. Vaxxux. I use it to subvert and reply in threads and drive everyone mad to the point where there are even people on Reddit pretending to be my burners now. It's got so meta, it's great. But anyway, you can see there, the shill is the enemy of Vaxxux. They understand the truth. They know about the conspiracy. They know everybody's cheating. They know we're all covering it up. They know Valve are letting pros get away with it because everyone's just making so much money from ye old esports. And so here it is. Richard Lewis is an independent journalist in 2016. The EU CSGO scene should be nuked from space because of cheaters. Now, we'll get to that in a second. And then over and there, 2018, me in a dressing gown, Richard Lewis is paid esports live commentator. People who think there are cheaters in the CSGO scene are mentally ill. You can't talk to these people. Now, this, what's great about this is, okay, Richard in 2016, having took the biggest paying gig of my working life to work for E-League as a commentator, supposedly said the CSGO scene should be nuked from space because of cheaters. Me in 2018, coming to the end of my E-League tenure and looking to do other things beyond becoming an esports commentator. So in other words, he's reversed the realities. So I should be less shill-like in 2018. Said people who think there are cheaters in the CSGO scene are mentally ill. You can't talk to these people. Now we'll do the second quote first, because both of these quotes are completely made up. These are completely fabricated. I'll be able to prove it. What I actually said was, and he's used the link from the famous BTN Christmas one where I did it in a dressing gown and we had a laugh about the concept videos. Remember, the concept was a guy who claimed to have figured out a particular config so he could load up any demo and it would show conclusively if any player were cheating. And then he set up a Patreon and said, hey, recommend me suspects, and whoever gets the most votes, I will do a video on. And every single video, he found them guilty. Never even on the fence. There wasn't even like one video going, well, this, look, even Dan M had some ones where he went, he probably is not cheating. Not the concept. Every time, they were always cheating. And of course, it's a grift. It's a grift to take money from mentally ill people. It's as exploitative as tarot cards and horoscopes and tea leaf readings. You take somebody who wants to believe something and you drip feed them crumbs of that belief. Again, perfect analogy to all the QAnon, boomer, my first conspiracy bullshit. What I said on that video, which you can go watch, what I actually said. If you believe that there is some global conspiracy and we're all in on it and all the pros cheat and everyone covers it up, you are mentally ill. Do you know why I said that? Because if you believe that, you are mentally ill, right? So we can just shelve that. But then, the first one, right? The EU CSGO scene should be nuked from space because of cheaters. Didn't say that. Never said that. What I actually did say, and what this mentally ill individual deliberately misquoted, was this. The UK esports scene needs to be nuked from space. Not because of cheaters in CSGO. In fact, didn't even say anything about CSGO specifically. It was in relation to Bigsy and Bagsy and Orgs for a pound. That's when I said it, because I am super famous. You can even see, look, August 2016, so that's the quote he's referring to, right? It was such, because Richard Lewis is the most famous UK esports personality, and he's saying UK esports needs to be nuked. It made the news. I got Dom Saccoed again. So I didn't say that. I never said the things he's claiming. He also made this unbelievable post where he said I'd been convicted of cybercrime and accused of other heinous acts, all of it in his mind. That whole thread's a mess and includes because naturally it's a conspiracy theory subreddit, so it had a bunch of racists in there with very unsavory names. And just because I've been wanting to work this in for ages, guys. I've been wanting to work this in for ages. There's a guy who posts on VaxSucks all the time, right? And he says everyone in the game cheats, okay? Everyone. Everyone's cheating. Every account he sees is cheating. If you've got Steam Rep, you're a cheater. You bought the account. Guy called Zeno. And it's I just don't understand what happened to utterly break his brain. But he's one of the true believers. Everybody cheats. So somebody made a video of him playing in a Face It game. And I just want you to watch this so you can just see how fucked in the feed this guy is. This is him from his viewpoint, and you'll just see now. Charges up mid.
One.
This platform is worse than matchmaking. It's round one, they're already all cheat. And green is trolling or
One
is
car,
fixing
one
his
ramp.
cheats, I guess.
Top mid suicide. 2 top mid, 1 suicide.
The tunnel is clear.
Yeah, sure, man.
Yeah, I mean, you are all cheating, bro. Don't say yes or man. At this point, I'm sure the admins know and just allow it for some reason. There's no way they don't know the platform is cheat only.
Bro,
Face it.
it's my main account, what the fuck?
Blue, why not make a new account if you cheat on Face It?
Nobody's cheating, man.
Because this, I can just see it's a $5 boosted account. You have bot friends, you have all medals, you have pages of plus rep and shit like this. What's the point?
Bro, I'm playing since 10 years fucking CSGO. Of course
No,
I'm
you are lying.
medals.
You are using soft aimbot and you have a $5 cheating account. You're a pathetic bot, man. You can lie to yourself, you can't lie to me. I know what you do, I know what you use. It's just like the enemies, you all
Top
cheat.
mid, top mid.
You are all cheating because you're pathetic little...
Anyway, you can watch 5 more minutes of sustained mental illness as a very, very bad CSGO player rushes mid on Dust 2 as CT every round and mysteriously gets caught out by the T's every round. Crazy, I know, but obviously everybody's cheating, and this guy represents the average VaxSucks user, just shit at the game, mentally ill, and rather than just process, you're not in that 1% of actual good players. It's never going to be you. You obviously just don't get to be that guy. It's fine. Not everyone will, right? Rather than accept that and get on with your life and be like, well, you know what, I can maybe climb to global, or who cares actually, maybe Supreme is where I'm gonna peak and that's good enough for me, instead of just getting on with your life and doing that. Obviously it's better to go down a conspiracy rabbit hole where everyone's cheating. Face It are cheating, the admins are allowing the cheats, his own teammates are cheating even as they're losing, his opponents are cheating when they're beating him, and he sits there and he posts on VaxSucks just all the time and saying this is all that is happening these days. You might see him at the major. This is all that is happening these days. These cheat accounts. You see these noobs with their medals that they get from... you can't have no medals. You can't have medals. You can't have Steam Rep. You can't have no Steam Rep. Just absolutely fucked in the feed. Ridiculous. Bit of a side tangent there. Then there was a thread about me on the TSM subreddit. Time to talk about Richard Lewis and his article surrounding TSM. It's about the Peter Zhang story, and it said in one of his latest videos, Richard Lewis talks about the riot ruling for Peter Zhang and his frustrations on the riot article for not even referencing him for the article he wrote despite Chris Greeley using details from said article. Bonus, Doublelift comes across even more as a jackass in the linked video. Then it says, through these articles he has done more for TSM than any other journalist out there by providing inside details about the organisation we all support, and it's high time that we give him his flowers. You will notice this was downvoted to 43%. He is banned from the main subreddit. Riot refuses to even utter his name or even link his articles. Frankly speaking, he doesn't stand to gain much from making League of Legends articles, but he still does it. There are only a few true esports journalists out there. He might actually be the only one left. We are free to dislike him personally, but when it comes to journalistic articles, man does not miss. I would say that he would need support if we want to keep seeing articles like these, but his journalistic integrity is so solid that he would probably just do them anyway. That said, if you want to express support, he's up for the Esports Journalist of the Year award, and you can vote for him here. He is nominated largely because of the TSM articles he has written. Now, that's a reasonable thing to post. Happy. You're going to be like, well, you know, what? It is a unbelievable wall of hatred. Let me read you some. Blokes who cry baby, and just another Thorin with his hate for our community and the larger League community. It wasn't long ago he was arguing with Redditors in comments and posting their accounts on Twitter for his horde of followers to abuse and torment. Right? By not long ago, he means 8 years ago. And by abuse and torment, he means maybe, potentially, get a reply on a public internet forum. Nice try, Richard Lewis Burner. Got that there. RL, Thorin, and Monty are the trifecta of TSM haters since 2011. That's not true. I didn't even really cover League in 2011, but all right. It's kind of funny that all these three people have been banned from different games. RL for saying he was threatened by a player back in 2015, but he started the fight, laughing my fucking ass off. Monty banned from League because renegades. Thorin banned in CSGO for racist. Those TSM hate checks aren't coming anymore. All fabrications and lies. The dude is in the same vein as Thorin and Monty. These guys are probably barely scraping by, and only the popularity of TSM get them views. Now they're irrelevant, and they're trying to use this old washed technique. Dude's a fucking gonk. Right? Gonk. He blocks anyone that slight criticizes any of his articles, despite how he straight up lies in them. The man misses constantly, laughing my ass off. Somebody asked, can you link to an article with lies in it? I'll be honest, this is the follow-up reply, I can't find the article, but he did block me when I told him on Twitter he made an article about TSM drama surrounding him that Lena resigning is not a conflict of interest, despite what he, Monty, and Thorin all think. If you can't do basic research on the law and can't take slightest criticism, how can you claim to be a good journalist? And then somebody said, but Lena and Doublelift was a conflict of interest. And the guy replies, no, it's literally not a conflict of interest because they are working towards the same goal. Plus, if it was, why did Steve let him go? Why Riot not step on? Conflict of interests are PR nightmares, yet they said nothing about it. See today's video. Why can no one in esports understand conflict of interest? Then it's okay, OP. I like the work Richard Lewis did too, but this is not the place to big him up. People place him on a peg. Love it when that happens. He is Thorin Monty adjacent, so that is bad. And then he blocks on Twitter and GG. I've been blocked by him on Twitter, and I don't think I cared about it for a second. I thought his name was banned on this sub because he is a hardcore TSM hater. He is, but that doesn't mean he's a bad journalist. I never said he was a bad journalist, just he's a known TSM hater. Now, we get to wrap it up with a bit of celebrity illness. Sure, you can all... This is Follow Dunk. Follow Dunk is TSM's social media manager, right? He said, he blocked me on Twitter. I'll pass, lol. And again, this ties in with Thorin's video today, bizarrely. He's literally a Thorin and Monty 2.0. Lives off TSM clicks. And in my opinion, shouldn't even be celebrated as a good thing for TSM. Now, I want to make it abundantly clear, because obviously he's on like the lowest rung of the esports ladder, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So obviously he doesn't really understand how the industry works, or how people like me actually make the money that we do. In no way is anything I do, like, there's no conceivable metric by which getting TSM clicks would actually lead to me getting money, because I don't work for clicks. I am paid a flat salary as an editor at large at Deserto. I am paid for my Twitch subs and my Twitch community, which we've established would never include TSM, because I only talk about them negatively, don't I? So they wouldn't come here and be part of my community. There is no vector in which TSM makes me any money whatsoever. So I live off my work, and the fact that I am able to make a living off my work in a highly competitive industry is because my work is very, very good. And I barely even mention TSM. TSM are a clusterfuck nightmare of an organisation, even admitted to by former stars, former employees. It's garbage to work there, and it's rotten from the top down. And talking about it, if I wanted to get TSM clicks, here's what I'd do. I would do a fawning interview with Reginald, which I could totally set up, ask him a bunch of softball questions, discredit a bunch of the people that have insulted him. It gets 1 million views tomorrow. Oh, Richard Lewis wasn't a TSM hater all along. Reginald can't be bad if Richard said so, right? And I can do that, and I can live in all of their good graces. So if I want to make money off TSM, you suck TSM dick. That's how the esports industry works. If you want to make money, you pretend it's all good. You big up the most toxic, negative entities in the space, and you get your rewards for doing so. There's actually less money in what I do. But irrespective, none of it's click related. So I hope that clears it up. But the problem is, you see, Follow Dunk, despite being on the lowest rung of the esports ladder and being a social media manager, the most wretched, servile, pathetic job there is to have in esports, and I'd say that knowing that you're an essential part of the ecosystem, got to run those socials. But I'll tell you, go talk to one of those guys that ran Twitter accounts for famous players or big organizations after they got shit canned for a bad joke, and they'll all tell you that job was garbage. Because it is. Loads of stress, loads of input required. You're walking a constant tightrope where you're playing with someone else's reputation, but ultimately it will be you that gets fed to the angry mob should you inspire them to do so. It's a terrible job. It's just not a fun job. Now, generally, people do that for a bit and they like work their way up. Not this guy. Hasn't really been able to find the magic formula. Now, I can't think why that might be. It's certainly nothing to do with stories like this. This is the headline. TSM under fire for insensitive tweets after LCS and VCT losses. And he tweeted this out when TSM lost, saying, "Are you winning, son?" It's the "Are you winning, son" meme. And as you can see, Stickman hung himself, right? Now, Son wasn't winning. Son was committing suicide. Now, listen, I actually, because I'm an edgelord, I have no problem with that as a joke, right? But that doesn't mean I don't understand the horrors of suicide. As you guys know, one of my best mates in the whole world hung himself. You know what I mean? And while I was working a fucking esports event, right? So I know that suicide is a devastating subject, but also tweet like that sort of funny if you use suicide in the abstract, oh, the results were so bad, it's like you might want to kill yourself over it. You're not making light of mental health issues, you're not making light of the devastating part of suicide. I would have absolutely defended this guy, but unfortunately, here's the problem. If you're going to talk about the importance of mental health, and you're going to do it in a very sanitized environment where edgy, topics are not allowed, then you can't make this kind of joke. That's the pact you've made. But here's the thing. This pussy-o, and I rarely use that word, but he is a pussy-o. He didn't even own up to the joke. He said, "I want to apologize for using the wrong image for a sad meme. I completely misjudged the template until it was pointed out. Amateur mistake, and I won't let it happen again. I'm truly sorry to those I may have offended. I really did not mean to cause offense. It was a straight copy and paste and a quick action. I thought the guy was walking away from the chair and he kicked it over in frustration." Homie. Really, homie. Yo. Dog, come on. Where you can't live a life of being a social media manager and have baby nuts. That's all I'm saying. For fucking real, homie. You gotta own this. Didn't own it. Refused to fucking own it. I've been a big outspoken voice for mental health, suicide, and everything that comes with it. I wouldn't joke, have never joked, and did not mean to have it come out as a joke. I really, really I'm sorry. Apart from that time, you did joke about it on TSM's Twitter. But anyway, he apparently got to keep his job. But funnily enough, as I was like gathering up all of the crazies, he was in the fucking news again, this guy. Apparently, right, there was like some incident in LCS where Riot officials were making EG pause the game in the middle of a competitive game. I'm guessing against TSM, right? Because, they couldn't get audio, and Riot was saying, pause the game, so EG would pause it, following Riot's instruction. Well, Dunk, obviously, because he's a guy who likes to have all of the facts at his disposal. All of the facts at his disposal before he goes off half cock. He would never do anything like look at a meme and just post it without thinking or anything like that. He said, what an absolute joke. As if I needed more reasons to hate that dog water. Or I hate people say dog water. When ironically, it's terrible. Just say dog shit. Way better. And then evil geniuses, but with two little pause symbols. Now, of course, the person he has to be angry with is Riot, but he wasn't, and nor could he say that. But this is just TSM. Monty described him as, incredibly, this guy isn't even within the top 10 idiots at TSM, which I don't know. I think he's making a good go of it. Just to put the icing on the cake, right? Remember, the only reason I'm talking about this guy, in the first place is because he was complaining about me having him blocked on Twitter, right? I blocked him for no reason, the ultimate crime, right? Because as if, like, a fucking wretchedly bad social media manager that can't even post memes without fucking it up, I need his esports opinions, apparently. Like, we are not the same, okay? But whatever. We do work in the same industry. So I was like, listen, have I really blocked this guy? Because obviously, remember, blocking people for no reason is really bad. It's a terrible thing to do. And certainly if you do it. What? Yeah, the cunt's got me blocked, right? So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about, homie? Bro, like, you can't be that. You cannot be this dumb, like. But he is. He's really this dumb. So yeah, apparently him blocking me for no reason, fair game. Me blocking him for no reason means all my lifetime of work is discredited because I'm only doing it to get TSM hate clicks. Now, that, my friends, was a 2-week window into about 30% of the crazy I get exposed to. So, whatever you do, don't become a fucking Z-list online e-celebrity. It's not worth it.
He's the man to do the damage. Oh! As he looks for another